If you read this word in French, it's pronounced bois. If you read it in Portuguese, it's pronounced bois. In French, it means wood or woods, and in Portuguese, it means oxen. This word in French is pronounced me. This word in Portuguese is pronounced mais. In French, this word is the conjunction but. In Portuguese, this word means more or plus. Nega in Brazilian Portuguese means you refuse or he, she refuses. This sounds exactly like nega in Mandarin Chinese, which means, well, this one, that one, okay, and several other definitions. And both these words sound exactly like an offensive American word that you'll hear in rap music and movies that we export to the world. Guys, I'm just now warming up. I have so many more for you. Make sure you hit that like button and stay tuned. In English, this word is cigarrete. In Portuguese, this word is cigarrete. Cigarretes in Brazil are a type of salgados, which are basically like fried croquettes. If you want to say cigarette in Portuguese, you say cigarro. Ambulante in Portuguese is a street vendor. If you want to say ambulance, you need to say ambulância. Repente in Brazilian Portuguese is an outburst or improv. If you want to say the word repent, you need to say arrepender. So by the same logic, a repentista is not somebody who's repenting, but rather somebody who does freestyle rap or improv. Both of these words are pronounced hobo, but in Brazilian Portuguese it refers to a robot. If you want to say hobo in Brazil, you would say pessoa com situação na rua. Day-to-day sounds like day-to-day, which would be dia a dia in Brazilian Portuguese, but day-to-day is actually descagem direta a distância, or direct distance dialing, which refers to the two-digit number prefix that cities in Brazil have, similar to area codes in the US. Copo de Stanley literally translates to Stanley Cup, but the first time I heard Copo de Stanley in Brazil, I was thinking the sport of hockey. If you want to explain this award to Brazilians, you would say Premio dos Ganhadores de Hockey. Reteteo, spoken quickly, sounds like head to tail, which in Brazilian Portuguese is da cabeça a cauda. Reteteo in Portuguese refers to an improvised meal, basically just opening up your fridge and making whatever you have. If you're not careful, you may confuse the word movies and móveis. Móveis in Portuguese are furniture. If you want to say the word movies, you would need to say filmes or cinema if you're referring to the location. It would be easy to confuse the word delícia for delicious, but it actually means delight. If you want to say delicious in Brazilian Portuguese, you would say gostoso. Both of these are pronounced Tai Chi. One of them refers to the islands of Tahiti, and the other one is a martial art form found in China. If you want to say that in Brazilian Portuguese, you would say Tai Chi Chuan. Both of these words are pronounced tattoo. One of them refers to ink that's on your body. The other one refers to an armadillo. If you want to say the body ink tattoo in Portuguese, you would say tatuagem. Both of these are pronounced pros. But in Brazilian Portuguese, pros only means for the in the plural sense. For example, for the guys would be para os caras or pros caras. If you want to say pros in the sense of professionals, in Brazilian Portuguese you would say profissionais. If you want to say prose in the sense of poetry, you would say prosa. Infancy in English usually is from age 0 to about 2. Infancia in Brazilian Portuguese is from 0 to 18. So this includes your childhood. Brazilians are babies until they turn 18, apparently. So if you've watched this far, first of all, thank you for watching this far. You must have a very interesting sense of humor, or just really enjoy looking at my face. Either way, I'm happy. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe if you haven't already. We have a bunch more, but let's look at falso cognatos or falsos amigos in Spanish and Portuguese. Both of these are pronounced gracioso. In Spanish, it means funny, and in Portuguese, it means elegant. If you want to say funny in Brazilian Portuguese, you will say engraçado. Both of these are pronounced presunto. Presunto in Spanish is alleged. Presunto in Portuguese is ham. If you want to say alleged in Brazilian Portuguese, you would say alegado. Both of these are pronounced afeitar. Afeitar in Spanish means to shave. Afeitar in Portuguese means to affect. If you want to say to shave in Portuguese, you would say fazer a barba. Both of these words are pronounced uno. Uno in Spanish is number one. Uno in Portuguese means I unite. If you want to say the number one in Portuguese, it's Mirar in Spanish means to watch. Mirar in Portuguese means to aim. If you want to say watch in Portuguese, you would say assistir. Pastel in Spanish is a cake. Pastel in Portuguese is a fried dough filled with meat, cheese, or other goodies. Kind of like a savory hot pocket. If you want to say cake in Portuguese, you would say bolo. Que tal in Spanish means what's up. Que tal in Brazilian Portuguese means what about. For example, what about John and Vince? Que tal João e Vinicius? If you want to say what's up in Brazilian Portuguese, you would say e aí. Both of these words are pronounced piña. In Spanish, it refers to a pineapple, and in Portuguese, it refers to a sugar apple. If you want to say a pineapple in Portuguese, you would say abacaxi. Both of these words are pronounced talleres. Talleres in Spanish are workshops. Talleres in Portuguese are utensils. If you want to say workshops in Portuguese, you would say oficinas. Novio, novia. In Spanish, these are boyfriend, girlfriend. Novia, novia in Portuguese are fiancés. If you want to say boyfriend or girlfriend, you would say enamorado or enamorada. In Spanish, this word is caja, which means box. In Portuguese, this word is cajá, which is a cashew. If you want to say box in Portuguese, you would say caixa. The first definition of descargar in Spanish would be to download. It also means to unload. In Portuguese, it also means to unload, but it does not mean download. If you want to say download, you have to say baixar. Você está in Portuguese means you are, but nobody in Brazil would say it that way. They would say Setá. Setá in Spanish is a mushroom. If you want to say mushroom in Brazilian Portuguese, you would say cogumelo. Edifício in Spanish and Portuguese both mean building, but it sounds like the Portuguese edifício, which means it's difficult. Edifício, hear the difference between these two words.
You see what I did there?
The letter Q in Spanish is pronounced cu. Cu in Brazilian Portuguese is slang for butt. If you want to say the letter Q in Portuguese, you would say que. When I was in São Luís, Maranhão, I visited a market where I got to try for the first time Chiquira. No, I didn't try the Colombian singer. Chiquira is a very strong local beverage that you'll find in Maranhão. Though it would have been nice to try Chiquira. So what did you think of this list? Have you seen any of my other videos that I've done on false friends? I've done a lot of them, especially between Portuguese and Spanish, because these languages are very similar. So after you go back and watch all those videos, come back to this video and leave comments for some false friends that I've missed, that I didn't include in any of these videos, or some that you just enjoy and want to share with us. Remember to hit that subscribe button, remember to share this video, and hit the like button. Go ahead and check out one of these other videos that are up here while you're here. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.